So, subject matter. It is always the part of the book. But what do you think is the main purpose, and do you believe it is as important as they say? Let's go. Always. Hey, everybody. My name is Rob. This is my mom, Karen. You're watching Books, Banter and Beyond. And today is another one of my favorite types of topics, the very general question, but it goes a lot deeper than people think it does. So today we're going to talk about subject matter, why it's there, and does it really resonate as to why we pick the various books and authors that we do. Um, so obviously off the bat, subject matter plays a critical role because without it, it's like no plot, no book. Why would you have words on the page? It would just be a bunch of random letters and such. So subject matter in general is always key because it explains to you as the reader what you're picking up, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, history, whatever it is. Subject matter does play that important role. However, depending on who you are, when you grew up, your generation, so to speak, a book on war may hit differently than a coming of age story, right? Because depending on what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've learned, some books may just not interest you at all because, you've seen it, you've done it. Some books may go, oh, I was there, or this is my thing. I'm going to write or, read all of that series right there. And then you look into things such as education, people who publish their own books. Subject matter is guided into categories. So, for nonfiction, you may have things like science and self help. For fiction, you might have romance, horror, fantasy, you name it. And you have to know how to navigate through what you're wanting to read and not just necessarily reading because somebody says. And we're going to talk about reviews in a minute. But I think generally speaking, subject matter should matter, no pun intended there, to you when picking out your book. And, we've talked about this on past videos before as to why we read what we do, why we pick who we do. I know you've gotten into romance and you're really into that particular person's series versus maybe somebody else's that you haven't touched yet. But here's your thing, just a general question for both of us is, when we do look at our bookshelf or we go to the bookstore, what are we looking for? Do we have a subject matter in mind? Or is it kind of just, hey, I've read this before. Let's kind of see what else is there, right? There's no rhyme or reason in my mind, I think. I don't.
Well, I can't imagine walking into a library or a bookstore with no idea what I'm going to read, right? I have no idea. I would be overwhelmed and I would walk out.
You don't want to just wander through the things for no reason for an hour?
And do you think there are people, seriously, do you think there are people that just say,
we've done it here. More so just to kind of, get out of the house for a little bit. But you do have a point. I think if you are going, even if you don't know what you're looking for, in the back of your mind, there is a author that you are going to.
You want to read fiction, you want to read nonfiction, or you're looking for something historic. Yeah, I personally think you have to have something in your head before you walk in.
So I will say this, and I know because the last video we talked about how I said one reason why I pick a book is because of the topic. Simultaneously, and I know this will go exactly against what I said in that video, but there's a difference between picking a general topic and picking maybe a specific aspect of said topic. So for instance, I'm reading a lot of Native American history right now, but I'm finding that some of the books are more, personalized, like the individual was there, and some of them are school books, as I would call them. They're basically just information about how stuff was planted, how animals were harvested. So while all of it is interesting, the subject matter pinpointing, I guess, does make a difference. I think it's a matter of, do you want to know a personal story or do you just want to learn about X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, I would agree with
that.
Right.
So I know we have a few questions. One of them, why do we think that certain subject matters might attract more attention than others? Um,
Maybe what's going on in the world, maybe what's going on in your life, maybe what's, so you pick things that you want answers to, maybe, or you pick things that fill in the space, or you pick things to escape.
and I'm glad because escapism is a word that people use when you read, especially fiction. Um, but yeah, I think generally, like you said, when you go to the bookstore, you know what you're looking for. When you read, you know what you're reading for. So I think depending on what you're trying to learn about, what's going on, that will shape it. However, what I've noticed is I will go, oh, well, let's say I don't know, saw a episode of something on Discovery Channel and go, that's cool. I will sometimes learn very quickly it's not really cool, actually. It sounded cool, but then I go to get a book and I start reading it, and I'm like, this is very boring. And it's not that the subject matter is boring, it's that the more you go into it, the less intrigue because you soon realize this is very simple information. And then if
Yeah.
I'm done, I'm going to pick something else. So, as much as something might trigger me to want to read, I'll find out very quickly sometimes that, nope, I don't actually want to read that because it's not cool. Like, it's not really fun. And you know what I mean? So, it's an interesting.
Well, are you one of those people that once you start something, you have to finish it, or you allow yourself grace?
I will if it's that bad and I'm just that bored. I'll stop. If it's something where I've been really dying to read it and it's kind of starting slow, but I really want to, I will make myself finish, even if it ends up being bad. But a lot of times, if I start it and I'm a chapter in and I'm just like I can't stand this, I'll move on to something else because I'd rather use my time purposefully with something else than pretend to enjoy.
Right.
You know.
Do you think that the importance of the subject matter outweighs the quality of the writing?
Ooh, okay, so I think that kind of goes into what I was just saying. Just this will sound this is a very blatant statement, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. And there's a lot of like writers who are great writers, but their ability to write is not very flattering. And just because they may have a PhD in said topic doesn't necessarily mean they need to go write a book because it doesn't fit well. And a lot of times, if the writing is horrible, it doesn't matter how interesting the topic is. I can't finish it. My brain is just going, no, like this is not going to work. So I think the writing really does outweigh the subject because if I can't sit and look at the book, I don't care what you're telling me. I'm not going to finish your book.
So what you're saying is that if you are an expert in a subject matter, but you don't know how to write, then find somebody to write it for you or to collaborate with so that the person who has the skill to write can actually get your message out in a way that's
Hey, some people are just really good
efficient.
at public speaking and that's what they do. And if
Right.
they want to write a book, just be like, hey, you know how to write. You want to help me do this? And just have them take care of it and let them do all the writing part. And then you can just put your name on the thing because it's your story.
Right. So do you think, so I guess the next question is, do you think that everyone can write?
I feel like my teachers have asked me that question before. Um, I will answer it this way. Even the most popular books are not loved by everybody. And I think it's just a matter of, like, for instance, somebody like Shakespeare, who is probably one of the most prolific authors out there. Most people I've talked to hate him. They do not want to read him. Why? It's just very odd language. And if nobody speaks that way anymore, this is a very old English type of thing. So, does that mean he's bad? No. Does that mean that people enjoy him? Apparently not. So, I think the best answer to that question is anybody can put pen to paper, but I think them as the individual have to keep in mind is my point going to get across? Is my style going to be enjoyed? And are people going to care? And I think if you can let yourself realize that not everybody has to care about it, you can write perfectly fine, but you can't be bogged down by expecting to be the top seller automatically and then getting angry when your book doesn't hit the charts. So
Yeah, that reminds me when somebody says, not everyone can sing. I believe everyone can sing. Some better than others.
yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Anybody can do it, but you have to know what your ability is to do so, and not expect
As
you're going
you
to be
said,
up here with the
yeah,
same.
as you said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So, absolutely. Now we have lots and lots and lots of books in the next chapter. Bookstore.shop. By the way, new website. It looks beautiful. It's really easy to navigate. There's some contests on there. I know all sorts of things that are going on over there. Make sure you put your name on the mailing list so you can be up to date. So go there, www.nextchapterbookstore.shop. Find some favorite books, experience them, touch them, feel them, be the next person in the chain of reading these used books. I love, how much I love this. So I'm going to keep
Yes.
saying it till, we get tired of me saying it. Any last thoughts, Rob, about everything that we've been talking about?
I love the deep dives on these questions, and some of the simplest questions actually give you the
Right.
most in-depth answers.
So go out, read, and tell somebody about the next chapter bookstore.shop. See you next week. Goodbye, everyone.